The price of Bitcoin is $27,384, and as it sits this morning, the markets did exactly what I said they would do yesterday, more or less. We didn't get that ultimate drop down to close the CME Gap. However, we did come back and retest this level of resistance here. The big question at this stage is, how long is that resistance level going to stay a resistance level? Will it flip into support? Will we break through it? Or are we going to get rejected at these levels here? Because, of course, there is lessening liquidity to the downside. And if we look over at BYBIT right now, we can see that basically the funding rate here on the value of Bitcoin is not negative, but is far from being significantly positive, which means that ultimately there are quite a lot of short positions open. The other question is, are those short positions going to get squeezed? And is Bitcoin's price going to rise? Well, there is one little bit in the news today that we're going to discuss, and we're going to get on to it in just a second, about the SEC asking a court to revise the $22 million fine against Library to $111,000. Now, that is ultimately very, very bullish news for the world of crypto. It's good news overall, and I think that it will probably have some market impact in the coming weeks, especially on the altcoin market. Now, we're going to get into all of this in today's video, so do slap a like on it. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I greatly appreciate that, especially if you're new, you've not seen me before. My name's Jordan. I trade cryptocurrencies here on the internet every single day, so slap a like, subscribe, and let's crack straight on with the video. What is this? The SEC asking court to revise the $22 million fine. Well, the Securities and Exchange Commission has filed to revise the $22 million penalty against Library, month after the blockchains contested the fine as being excessive, and it was absolutely excessive. It's more money than what they could possibly afford. It's ultimately a small blockchain platform, but this was not. It's not really important what the platform is, what it does, anything like that. The point is, they fined Library for issuing an unregistered security in America and having Americans use that unregistered security. The point is, that fine has been decreased by 99.9% at this point in time. The SEC seems to be rolling back its previous opinions that all altcoins are in fact securities, when they are not securities by definition of what a security is. It's interesting to see, and it's very bullish news for the crypto market. It's part of the reason why Bitcoin's price has been rallying to the upside today. And of course, Ethereum has been also rallying as well. If we look at the price of Ethereum versus the US dollar, Ethereum did exactly what I said it would do. It dropped down into this range last night, down at 1787. I said it'd get down to here. If you would look at yesterday's video, I said, look, I'm going short. Went short. Didn't manage to snag an entry down here because this was like during the middle of the night at 2 a.m. But the point stands, we were correct. And at this point in time, what are we expecting from the price of Ethereum? Well, Ethereum I'm expecting to perform particularly well in the coming weeks. But let's go back to the price of Bitcoin and do some analysis here. What are we expecting to happen from here? Well, we've got a very clear level that if we break to the upside of it, Bitcoin is going to rally back into the next level of resistance, which would be sitting up here at approximately $29,200, which is where the control line currently sits with the largest level of liquidity. If we had to break above this level, essentially what we would see is mass short liquidations, because we've already seen on BYBIT that the level of shorts is currently increasing, and that could end up being a little bit of a short-term short squeeze. The thing is, you do need to get above this level here, which is $27,500. The point whereby we're trading above $27,500 on the price of Bitcoin, that's when you would expect that significant rally to the upside. However, if we fail to break through and close an hourly candle, and the important thing here is you need that hourly candle close above 27,500. If you're not getting that hourly candle close and it just dips above it, it'll likely just go straight back below. It'll fake out and then drop to the downside, which is ultimately where a lot of that short liquidity would be grabbed from, and then they drop it to the downside. Again, you've got to be paying a lot of attention in the market right now to be making a profit, because the markets are getting increasingly more volatile. It's important to point out that Bitcoin still seems to be stuck in this downtrend here, but it's also important to point out, there's a lot of important things to point out, that we do have a downtrend level, this is the official downtrend level, and we're yet to come up and retest it. From what I would expect to see, based on my experience of trading crypto all of these years, I would expect to see a scenario somewhat similar to this, whereby we see an inverse head and shoulders start to play out, something like that, and then we come up and retest that level around here. That's where I would expect to be touching it. And I think that this, to be honest, could potentially, I mean, this is a whole week's worth of trading action where I've just drawn this green line here. If we look at where that sits in terms of the date, that would take us to Thursday, the 8th of June. That's quite a long time. Again, this is the 4-hour chart. It could be a pretty boring month, but at the same time, if it's going to be boring on Bitcoin, altcoins are going to be the things to rally. And I also pointed out in yesterday's video about Bitcoin dominance and how that was performing. This is Bitcoin dominance. I said that Bitcoin dominance had likely peaked for the short term. And if we look at the hourly chart, it has been trading downwards so far today. At the same time as Bitcoin dominance trading to the downside, it's not going to load. Let's just go over to this chart right here. The DXY is also trading to the downside. I pointed this out yesterday. It didn't seem likely that the DXY would continue its rally to the upside, and so far today it has been dropping to the downside. Now, my target for the DXY to return to would be this purple line down here, which is a previous level of resistance that is now going to flip into support. It would be weird if we didn't come down and test that. Another important thing to point out is that we're currently sat on the outside of this level of support. If we fail at this level of support, we drop to the downside. I expect that's going to happen based around a bunch of things that are happening with regards to the US dollar and with regards to the banks. Like, the bank crisis is not over yet, and that narrative is far from finished. Now, when it comes to the price of Ethereum, it's kind of a similar story to what is going on with Bitcoin. If we look at the hourly chart on the price of Ethereum, this is the hourly Ethereum chart. You can see here, we're stuck at this level of resistance. You can also see when you start trading above this level, there is increasingly less liquidity, which means that price action will get more and more volatile. So it's also important to point out on Ethereum, we have a control line that's currently down here at $1,640. So if we fail to break through this level with an hourly candle, an hourly close above the level of, call it $1,840. If we manage to close an hourly candle above $1,840, it is likely that we will pump to the upside, and the target at that point in time would likely sit somewhere around this kind of downtrend level. We had a fake out above it here, but you can see the downtrend level. The target would sit somewhere around these levels, probably around here, which would be around $1,886. So if we were to measure that move, how much of a move would that be from where we're at currently? That would be around a 3% move to the upside. Nothing significant, but equally, if you are trading that with leverage, pretty nice gain is that, to be honest. And of course, if you are interested in trading, do check out the link in today's video description for BYBIT. If you use that link in today's video description, you get up to $30,000 for free. It is the best link to use. It is an affiliate link, so I do gain from that. What do I actually get out of an affiliate link? I take like 0.0001% of the overall trading fee that is generated from you trading on BYBIT. BYBIT makes the majority, I make the minority. But basically, it's a trading fee split. I don't get actually paid to sign anybody up. If anybody ever thought that, that's not the case. But it's a good way of supporting the channel, especially if you do appreciate the work that I put into these videos. So thank you very much for checking that out. And again, something in it for you as well. You can get up to $1,000 for free for clicking on the link. But anyway, coming back to it, Bitcoin, I think this is going to happen. We shall see. I'll update you later today as how that's getting on. In terms of the short term, if you drop down onto the 15-minute chart here, literally we need this hourly candle close above the previous high set here, which again, $27,500. We failed to close an hourly candle above that level. We likely drop back down to this level of liquidity down here, around $26,900. Another important thing to point out on Bitcoin would be that we actually formed a CME gap yesterday, and that CME gap sits down at this level here, around $26,450. So it's a concerning one because, of course, that CME gap is now open, and if we start pumping to the upside, likely it will then drop to the downside. But again, yeah, we're a long time away from Bitcoin halving. These things can happen. Of course, it's likely at some point in the future that Bitcoin does go down and close that CME gap. It always tends to do that. Also, another thing to point out would be we still have a CME gap open at $30,700. Not all CME gaps close, and recently CME gaps have been somewhat unimportant. They just kind of act as magnets as the price gets towards them. A couple more things to point out in today's video, of course. First one being about SEC asking court to revise the $22 million fine against the library. The other one being OpenAI's CEO is in talks to raise $100 million for WorldCoin project. And the final one being that crypto lender Nexo to shut down UK subsidiaries, basically because they're going through some restructuring, I think because of legalities and stuff like that. If you want to learn more about these things, go to cryptosavingexpert.com. It is the best place for news, guides, again, guides on how to use any exchange here, free courses if you want to learn more about The currency is absolutely free to do any of these things on this platform. If you go to Trading 101, you'll want to learn more about trading, go to Trading 101. You want to learn how to trade with margin, go to the Prime XPT course that you'll see here. At the same time, you want to check the price of any altcoin at all. You can see it all on here, including price charts and everything like that. So check it out. It all loads up very nicely, and the UI is going to go in constant improvement. Works on mobile, works on pretty much everything now, which is fantastic. And yeah, if you enjoyed today's video, do drop a like on it. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Thank you all very much for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.